I've made enough horsepower. I've made enough boost too. Said no one. What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Dan. This is Neomustangs, and this is my Fox Body Mustang channel. Ooh. If you're just subscribing, you're just joining us to the channel, this is my dad's 1988 Ford Mustang LX car. I built this for my dad about 10 years, so the paint's not exactly perfect, but it's just a street car, and it's simple, and it's stock. It's got a stock long block in it with a GT40 intake, which is still considered a production block. But let me go ahead and show you what we're about to do. It's got a GT40 intake and a stock long block. This is not the original motor. We actually blew the original motor up. Oil drive shaft twisted like a Twizzler. We lost oil pressure in that on the way to the track one day, so we ended up putting a used motor that we had back that we knew ran real good. Valve spring kit. We put the 172 Cobra roller rockers on it. With a good tire, this car had been running, 1370s, 1350s, 1330s pretty consistently. It wasn't something that was super special. Got a stock T5 in it. If you haven't had a chance to check out my dad's playlist, here's a link. This car's went through an amazing set of mods last year, one at a time, so it's worth checking out. Found this Supercharger last year, which is in that playlist, on a parts car, and we decided to put it on dad's car because it was an entry-level Vortech kit. Untuned, came with an FMU. We decided to go ahead and start racing it. But over time, we decided to do Supercharger versus a nitrous. We started to see how much more we could tweak out of it without actually switching it to mass air. Because guys, this car's still speed density. We even added an old 120 shot up to the car, and the thing almost made 500 wheel torque. We're still yet to take that down the track yet, so we'll probably still end up doing that. But today we're gonna be installing the third power adder on a poor old stock long block Fox Body street car. So we got a package from our buddy Donnie B, who is also a subscriber here on the channel. If you haven't had a chance, go check out Donnie B's channel. He's also another Fox Body enthusiast just like us. Donnie just so happens to be a manager salesman. Has been there a long time at Anderson Ford Motorsport. And what Donnie has sent me for Dad's car here, because he had been watching us vlog it all last year, is he sent me a Mr. Freeze methanol kit. I've never messed with this before, and I know Snort Performance has one, and I know a couple other places that have them, but Donnie decided, hey, it's 215 bucks if you want to check this out. Again, right here is the picture of it. Here is the part number, AF 2020. I believe that's the part number. But we're going to take this, and we're going to stick it on Dad's car. It's a pretty easy installation. I've already kind of messed with the hoses a little bit. You can't set it sideways, I don't think. I think it has to be set up and down. Kit also comes with extra nozzles for smaller spray, apparently, and a grommet. That I'm assuming when you cut a hole in your pipe, you can just stick this sprayer in it. Not a big deal. So what I'm gathering is it has to be put on the inlet side of the Supercharger, which I'm going to put it right here. I've already got a hole drilled where we were going to do that before. And it's going to spray in, compress, and cool the air charge, which probably produce a little bit more boost for Dad's car. So we'll make a little bit more power maybe. Maybe the speed density system's out of boost and out of power and it doesn't want to make no more. That's what we're here to find out. So Cousin Paul and I had been sitting here trying to figure out where we were going to actually mount this methanol kit, and there really wasn't any good ideas on where to put it. However, one idea did come up. We haven't ran smog in a number of years, so we've decided to delete the smog, and of course, there used to be a charcoal canister here. So I got to thinking with Cousin Paul, I'm like, hey man, let's just go and take this bracket that used to have the charcoal canister on it. Let's drill a couple holes and let's remount this bracket on the car with the meth kit. And since it's boost referenced and it doesn't really require any sort of like electrical connections, should be a pretty easy setup. One issue that I had with the kit was the fact that I had to go get these M8 studs. I actually bought the screws too. But you can see these little black oxidized studs that you can buy at Ace Hardware. This is the way it came, so you could mount it on the frame. So all I did was buy these little 1/4-inch studs and installed them on the kit. Pretty decent. And I have the charcoal canister bracket that we've already drilled holes in that fits nice and snug right here on the meth kit and mounts right to the frame. Now this sort of kit will work on superchargers, will work on turbo cars. I mean, I'm not gonna stick it with nitrous. It will create a cooler air temp charge Probably lower your IATs a good 50 or 60 or more, which in a tuning scenario will allow you to add more fuel, add more timing, and make more power because the air is cooler, there's resistance to detonation there. And it's sort of a perfect case scenario for cars that do not have an intercooler like our entry-level Vortech. Now, Vortech does make a kit that intercools, but for this, I'm just gonna mount it right there, plug it in right there, boost reference it, boom, we're done. It's gonna be with this kit forever. So I do wanna thank Donnie B for hooking me up with that kit. We're gonna go ahead and get this thing on a time lapse, and I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing installed on my car, and then we're gonna cut the hoses and we're gonna fill it full of something. All right, here we go. Installing the brackets, just a simple 10 mil. It's already nice and tight. Now I said I got these two in case I would have needed to bolt it to the bracket differently, but I figured the studs would work just fine. Just in case, they were like 40 cents, so I was like, you know, I better grab those while I'm there. I don't want to be going back. So now we got the charcoal canister bracket mounted on it. I think it's a great spot. It sits right next to the radiator. You'll see here in a second when I get underneath the car. We'll get this thing mounted and then we'll start worrying about where we're going to put the hoses. Literally, guys, this install is going to take like 20 or 30 minutes. And to gain some boost and some tuning ability, this is definitely something that I'd be interested in doing in the future more with maybe even the white car. Or maybe even Dad's car when it's turbocharged. You can see where the charcoal canister used to sit on the frame here. So all I gotta do is locate the two charcoal canister bolts, what I think Cousin Paul has, and we're just gonna go ahead and mount this, and we'll be ready to start routing some stuff up. So we had to make a little bit of a modification. Vortech puts our alternator at the bottom and smog pulleys here. So the bottle in the natural charcoal canister bracket location was too close. We drilled two more holes and used the same factory bolts that we just drilled them over about an inch. Put the bottle right up next to the radiator. But we're gonna go ahead and finish getting this set up and maybe get some juice in it. Legitimately, guys, if you're not running a Vortech kit or if you're running a turbo kit or whatever, the bottle placement's gonna be a little bit different for you. But for some people, it was really just that easy. I drilled two similar size holes and used the factory charcoal canister bracket in pretty much the same location. And it hangs down right at the bottom of the radiator support, core support. So it's not down too low, it's out of the way. So it was really only took about 15 or 20 minutes. And if I didn't have to drill holes, it wouldn't even have took that long. So we're gonna route the hoses in through the inner fender well holes, and we're gonna come up here, we're gonna make a grommet real quick and legitimate, give it a boost reference and fill it full of wiper fluid and heat, which we'll get into that. All right, so these are the accessories that came with it, which is obviously smaller nozzles, but you know, we're gonna go with the big one right off the bat. We already had a nozzle hole set open for the failed experiment with the windshield washer fluid. If you guys remember that. We almost made it work. Install right here in this hole, right behind the supercharger inlet. I kind of wish it was back here, but I don't want to get close to the headers and heat it up. Got all the hoses tucked behind the inner fender well, and we are good to go. We ended up getting the grommet on, which is pretty easy. Got both sides nice and flat mated. Next thing for us to do is to go ahead and put the power pipe back on, or the little plastic tube that I had for it, and get the nozzle seated inside of the tube. But before we do that, we're going to fill the reservoir up previously from our old experiment. So we ended up making a mix of negative 20-degree washer fluid, and we add a bottle of just the heat, H-E-E-T, it's a yellow bottle, to bring the mixture up to about 50%-ish. That's about what the sweet spot is. But for now, we're gonna go ahead and pop that rubber plug, which is really simple. It's just a little rubber plug. And we're gonna fill this bottle up and we're gonna test it. So we're gonna test our boost ref.
Don't trust me holding the thing again.
Yeah, that's fine. So we'll see if it works.
Man, now I just peed my pants.
I can't believe you felt that. We ended up taking about 3 foot off of the original feed line hose. It was so long, but we ended up taking the boost reference over here and teeing it into our fuel pressure regulator. We're just gonna go ahead and mount this. And guys, pretty much that's it. That's pretty much a successful install. Legitimately didn't take very long outside of drilling a couple extra holes, but all right guys, so that's it for the day. We got it installed. We're gonna take a test drive in it tomorrow. It's snowing right here in Ohio, go figure. Really simple installation, Anderson Ford Motorsport. If you haven't had a chance to check out their website and check out Donnie B on Donnie B's Fox Body channel, make sure you hit that like and subscribe below. I appreciate everybody in the watch time. I got a club membership. If you wanna click the join button, if you wanna give something back to the channel. I also have a merch shop if you're interested in buying a t-shirt to support the channel. All the proceeds go to the channel. It's just for the channel itself. Make sure you stay tuned for part 2 of this. We're gonna get it right over to the dyno. We're gonna see if it makes any horsepower difference, and maybe a cheap horsepower mod, maybe an extra pound of boost, maybe make a difference, maybe not. But make sure you check out that second video. It's coming in the next day or so. See you soon.